Hey there, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and my project today uses some Elizabeth Craft Design products to create a cute and colorful coffee card. Say that 5 times fast. But it's a simple and quick project. I've been into these like easy backgrounds lately, so here's yet another one. So I'm going to be stamping the coffee shop stamp from the Row Houses stamp set from Elizabeth Craft Designs with Distress Oxides, and I'm stamping this onto a 5x5 inch card base that I made from 100-pound soft finish white cardstock. Basically cut it to 5x10 and then folded it in half. So I'm going to stamp this coffee shop stamp in 4 different colors of Distress Oxides in kind of a stripy pattern in order to create this sort of cute, colorful background that sort of looks like, I don't know, like it could be a patterned paper. And then this is Wild Honey. So we stamping that one. Wild Honey gave me a little bit of an attitude. I had some issues getting the center of the stamp inked up real well, as you'll see kind of a little bit here when I stamp the second one. But really the Distress Oxides are really easy to stamp with and create that really pretty, very brightly colored chalky finish. Then my third color here is Picked Raspberry, and you can see I've got a pattern going to sort of determine how I was going to lay it out ahead of time. And I purposely picked sort of summery colors. This is Abandoned Coral is the last one. So as you can see, I've got sort of like pinky, orangey colors with a little bit of purple thrown in. And that's basically the front of the card completed. And that took like 3 minutes? No time at all. And then I'm going to stamp this greeting, which is You, Me, Coffee, from a brand new stamp set that's coming out on August 14th at the latest. From Elizabeth Craft Designs. The stamp set is called Home Sweet Home Stamps, and it has several cute sayings on it. Like there's the coffee ones, and then there's some like Welcome to Your New Home kinds of stamps or sentiments as well. So Wilted Violet did not want to stamp solidly with this stamp. Picked Raspberry had no problems with, but Wilted Violet just didn't want to go. So I used my Misty so I could get a good impression. Stamped it 3 times, and then I'm stamping the coffee mug, which is also in that sentiment stamp set, in archival ink because I knew I was going to be doing some watercoloring with it. So I've got my Picked Raspberry Distress Oxide here that I'm smushing onto my craft mat, and then I'm using some water and a brush, and I'm going to just start painting it onto the little coffee mug to turn the coffee mug pink. I had never done this technique on soft finish cardstock before, at least not without embossing the image first. Had I used some like black embossing powder with this, I think it would have been perfect and no problem whatsoever. But because I always tend to be a little bit of a crazy, I use a lot of water when I watercolor. A lot. How many times can I say that? It got really wet, and so the oxides did run outside the lines of the coffee mug more than I would have liked. And then I used some ground espresso to fill in the coffee mug for my coffee. Obviously, got to use ground espresso for that, right? Distress ink. And that also bled. And that was partly my fault because I did wet basically right next to wet, which I should not have done. But I have a way to fix it that I'll show you in a second. Now I'm going to die cut the sayings with the stitched rectangles die that you see there, purposely a little bit offset to the left because I plan to put my coffee mug up to the right in that. And then here's a mat that I die cut out of the dotted scallop rectangles die set, also from Elizabeth Craft Designs, to mat the saying. And then I'm going to mount that whole thing on a piece of fun foam with some 10mm double-sided adhesive tape, and I will adhere that entire piece together with that tape and then adhere it to the front. You'll see that in a second. Now here's my fix. So a lot of times when I have coloring that goes outside the lines or watercoloring that happens, this is what I do. I grab a white glaze pen and I carefully draw over the parts where it has run outside the lines with the glaze pen. Now you do have to wait for the entire piece to be dry, And you don't want to overdo it on the glaze pen because the glaze pen is sort of three-dimensional. And especially if you build up layers, it will become very three-dimensional. So you don't want it to look like you've drawn like a line of something, you know, thick around the outside. So if you do just like one thin layer, it will cover up your mistakes really nicely, and no one will ever even see it unless they look at it super closely. And then I took a Copic liner and I just went over some of the stamped lines that got covered by the Distress Oxide a bit because that gets a little chalky, so it kind of had grayed out the lines. So there I've adhered my sentiment to the front, and I have foam tape on the back of my coffee mug that I fussy cut out, and I'm just going to stick that down in the upper right. And then to go with my coffee theme, I have a couple little copper sequins to add just here and there to finish off my very simple, but I think kind of cute little coffee card. I just love the little coffee mug and the saying, and I think it goes super well with that little coffee shop from the Row Houses stamp set. And here's a look at that sentiment stamp set that is coming out from Elizabeth Craft Designs probably no later than August 14th, 2017. And there's a good close-up of the whole thing. And I like my little coppery sequins. I thought those added a little bit of a fun coffee-related touch to my very simple card. If you've watched any of my videos lately, you know that I am kind of on this simple backgrounds kick. So here is yet another idea for an easy background that makes a really cute card in no time at all. So I hope you liked the video. Thanks so much for watching. As always, supplies are linked in the video description and over on my blog. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do so. Have a great day.